As promised in our last video, we're going to be going into Blender and making a crankbait out of our previous little lure body that we had made. Get this open. I'm going to clean up the the save file that we have there. And for the lip material, I'm actually going to be making mine out of PETG. But if you are going down and fishing yours in the rocks and banging it against the rocks, what am I doing? Which you should be going and fishing against the rocks and banging into the rocks and grinding it on the rocks. Lexan or polycarbonate is going to last a lot longer than PETG. So if you have the tools available to cut Lexan, I want to recommend that you do. Well, let me take that back. If you have the tools available to you to cut Lexan and you want to have a Lexan bill, I'm going to encourage you to try that out. The lure I'm going to be making today is going to be shallow diving, medium diving, square bill. Personally, I don't intend to be grinding it down into the rocks. I don't know that I'm going to be fishing it somewhere shallow enough that I would get there. This is really more about let's just having fun and seeing what we can make on the 3D printer. But if you are going to do it polycarbonate, you're going to want to go with either 16th inch or 8th inch thickness. So I wanted to see what are the options here at Home Depot and what does it cost. And want that polycarbonate. What's the thinnest they have? UV stable polycarbonate sheet. I guess let's click there and see what the thickness is. Okay, so they do have 332 and they do have 1/8 inch. If you're using polycarbonate, I think you would be just fine with 332. What people don't realize is the thicker your lip is, a thicker lip could actually hinder your action. A thinner lip could help create more action. So if I was going to go to the store, I would get this. Am I missing it? There we go. $7 for that size. What about a whole sheet? Jeez Louise. Okay. Anyway, just an idea. You go with 332. So let's look at 332. So we're going to use that as a reference point for our thickness. 09375. We'll save that. So this is our file. We're gonna rename this. Let's rename it as Crank. And let's go down and clean up the things that we don't need. What we definitely want is we do want the master. So this is the original master. Why? I don't remember why it is that it's bigger. Then this was the twitch bait that we had made. So let's see. Let's put our measurements into centimeters and let's figure out what the volume is of this bigger shape, because we were making 28 grams with the original twitch bait. Okay, so let's take this back down to 28 like we did on the twitch bait with 1 ounce, 28 grams. You'll see it looks funky like that because there's two identical or very similar shapes laid over each other. We don't need that one. That's our old. This is our old twitch bait. I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to clean up some of the stuff that we don't need. I'm going to leave these. We may move them around. We don't need that anymore. What was this? Cylinder 01. Whatever it is, it doesn't like it. Oh, it's the I. Okay. I want to leave those eyes. We're going to cut them out of our new body. What is that modifier that's on there? We'll just save that. Control A. All this stuff we're going to use. I'm going to go down and hide it, except for the body. I'm going to hit the period or the decimal point on the number pad to bring me back to. So it's, yeah, there we go. Centered on that better. I don't think that we'll need those, but I'm gonna leave them there just in case. What is this? What the hell were we doing with that ginormous cube? I'm gonna delete that. Do we want to keep that? We're using that to determine the volume of our halves. Determine where to put that forward line type placement. I don't think we're gonna need that for this crankbait, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that guy. We do want that. I'll take both of these, but we're gonna make them smaller. We're gonna use that one and that one. Where is that pocket? This little guy right here, we don't need this. Delete, because we made the twitch bait. It was intentionally made to be slow sinking. It's going to hold more weight than the crankbait, which we're going to tend to have a slow float on it. So let's close, delete that. We're going to make new ballast pockets and cutouts. We won't need the half, but I'm going to leave it there. So this was the ballast that we had in here before. Let's look where those line ties were. We should be able to use most of this stuff. We're going to recycle it and save us some time, hopefully. We're not going to need this one. And we're not going to need this guy. With the 1 ounce lure, those 3 line ties, the build that we're going to add, this much ballast should get us where we need to be. So let's add that lip. Do a cube and bring it way down here. What did we say on the z-axis? Let's go back to imperial measurements because I struggle in metric. We had down here 330 seconds, 09375. You can do that. You could also just do a 330 seconds like that. And the rest of that we'll figure out here in a second. So we're going to rotate it. 45 degrees I feel is average. It will get you, if you're just wanting to make a good crankbait, you're not necessarily making a deep diver and you're not making a wake bait, 45 degrees is a good starting point. And then if you wanted to experiment, you know, the shallower you have, this is one of the things that's going to lend towards depth of dive. It's not the only thing that's going to lend towards depth of dive, but this is a key player. So let's go with that. Bring those eyes back. Let's hide this. Let's go ahead and get these eyes straightened out because that's going to be important for where our line tie falls. I'm going to rotate it on the Z. We want it like that. I don't know why it's so different. I mean, when we printed it out last time, it wasn't like that, but that's okay. And we're going to move it out on the Y just a hair. Hold down shift to slow it down. And just enough where it, like that. And let's delete this one. Since I moved it around so much. To get this thread on the other side, we're going to duplicate it. And then we're going to move it to this side. So on the y-axis, just give it a negative here. And then we're going to mirror like that, that was mirror along the y global. And that should be putting us right where we need it to be. Add the modifier here to Boolean modifier. Get the difference of that. And perfect. And we'll minimize that. We're going to duplicate it. Grab this side. It would have been faster if we would have just went with the Boolean modifier out of the menu. What's wrong, puppy dog? Why are you crying, Sassy? Okay. Perfect. So, let's clean up what we have here. That's I.left and I.right. Where did our bill go? There it is. So for right now, we're gonna scale along the Y. Just bring it a little closer to that body. We'll fix it up better in a little bit, but where do we want it to be? Want it to be right behind the eye? We want it to be up here? What length? How much material do we have going in here? A little more than ½ inch. You're right below that eye. I think I like it right there. Let's see. Oh no, what do I do? What if we bring it forward just a hair, right underneath that eye there? Okay, I like that. I'll scale it along the Y, just to where it just falls into the body there. How wide do you want it to be? The narrower the lip is, let's do something here. Let me move this origin point. Sometimes when you're zooming, like, slows down tremendously, it's because on one of the other axes your orientation is off. So if you hit that period or decimal on your number key pad, it'll help reset that. Yeah, it'll be fine. Good enough for government work. Now, how long do we want this bill to be? We're just gonna eyeball here. I like to bring it just a little bit down past. We're doing it shallow or slightly deeper than shallow, maybe. I mean, shallow is subjective. Shallow diving crankbait. I like to stick past, just a little bit past where this line tie is. So a line tie when you have the loop is going to be about here. Let's put you about here. So we'll bring it just, let's see, about like that. Is that getting us what we want? Say here. I think, yeah, that's a good enough eyeball. Now, width this way. How wide do you want it to be? You know, the narrower the lip is, let's do something here. Let me move this origin point. Oh, that's why. So we've got, still had that mirror modifier on. When you move the origin, it screws everything up. So let's apply that mirror modifier. We don't plan on doing too much. I don't think we're going to be doing any modifying of the body. Alright, now we should be able to move that origin. Maybe? Is it still upset about it? And then you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and save it and close Blender and give it a little refresh. As I've told you guys before, this dinosaur that we're working with here needs all the love it can get, and sometimes motor gets her running a little hot. Okay, to get Blender restarted, and also realized that I had meant to, or needed to, duplicate this because we're modifying the master. I never like to do that. I always like to have a, for lack of a better word, unmolested file there. So I went back to an autosave, and I'm gonna duplicate that. And hit escape to leave it where it is. And we're gonna rename that to Crank. And then on the master, I'm gonna undo those eyes. And we're gonna hide that master. So here's our guy here. And what I was wanting to show before I had my technical difficulties was, let's bring this guy back real quick. We were talking about the width of the bill. I'll bring this origin point up here. I'll just put it there just for example's sake. We're going to rotate around individual origin. So if you have a narrow lip, your crankbait is going to want to tend to rotate this way, left and right. And with the wider lip, we want to give some leverage to these points out here to allow the lure to rotate on both axes. So it's going to be pushing. This is going to be leveraging and kind of rotating it off both on this way, but also this way a little bit. So you're going to get some side-to-side flash like that, some flash of the side, but also this left and right that helps with that lure rattle. So I'm going to return this to the origin, the origin to the 3D cursor. If you want to make a wider bill and experiment with it, but please do. I encourage you to. I want to empower you to do that. Let's hide this guy and bring back our crank. Okay, so we want to round off the edges here. I'm gonna switch to just line, which I'm hitting 2 on my keyboard, which is this guy. So I'm gonna hit here, and I'm going to Control B. And segments, I don't know, let's give it 10 segments. How curved do you want it to be? Or not curved, but how much of a relief to here do you want? You want to make it like this? I'm kind of going for a square bill, but, or I was. I kind of like the thought of having that. I don't know. Let's go. Let's stay with what we had. The thought was a square bill. So, I don't know. Let's put this at 10. I'm picking a nice round number because it'll help us duplicate on the other side. So I got 10 segments. I got 10 inches. I pick this guy. Hit Control B. Same idea. 10. And we're done with that. So if you were going to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Ace Hardware, whatever your hardware store is, and pick up some Lexan and cut it, what you would want to do here is get you a Boolean modifier to cut a hole there, a slot for your lip. And you may want to do this on a test block. Create a couple of cubes with this width. We had this 0938, so you know maybe you would want to make a test cube with a cutout that's 0.094, 0.095, and do a test fit on just a little printed cube. See which one fits best, and then come back and make that the width of the cutout. This is if you're going to do Lexan. So you would want to do the Boolean modifier, make sure you're at difference, hit Bill, and let it cut that out. Tum, 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 tum. You're going to have that slot right there. And what you could do to make your life easy is you could take this and print it flat on your 3D printer and just use that as a template. You don't even have to be that thick. You know, you could print like one layer height, or scale it along the Z axis. Oh, it's not going to want to like it because it's trying to Boolean modifier at the same time. So let me kill that. So you get that cut out, and then separately, I'm going to toss this out because I'm not going to use it. So separately, you could take this and scale it along the local Z axis and just thin this out way down, right? And just print it out something like that. Print it out as a thin template that you can trace out on your Lexan and cut it out. What we're going to do is, for the sake of this tutorial, since we're doing 3D printing here, we're actually going to 3D print this bill as part of the body. I had mentioned earlier that the thickness of the bill can kind of kill your action. So if the bill was like this, it's going to kill your action. The thinner the lip you can get away with, and also if you could kind of knife edge this front here, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go back to, right now I've got it on this line view up here. I'm going to go back to looking at vertexes, which is 1 on my keyboard. And what we're going to do now, instead of, we're going to do that, but I want to actually move this up to here. So I do create a little bit of a flat spot, or we maintain a flat spot, a flat edge right there. And it's not, it's the 3D printer, you know, really doesn't like to print a flat edge of nothingness. Just a complete razor sharp edge doesn't print well. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to maintain that little bit of a edge right there, and I think that's going to work. It's going to print way better. Yeah. like that. Yeah, now we're talking. Okay, cool. So we're kind of getting the benefits of a thinner lip, which is going to help with action, I think. And we're also maintaining strength. So good for us. Look at us go. All right. Let's see. The line ties we're going to leave here. We're going to leave here. The ballast is here, here. This line tie does need to come down here. We need it to be like here. I want it to be right where the lure meets the nose there. But before we can determine that, let's move that out of the way, or let's put it back where it was. We'll need to do our cutouts here for the ballast pockets. Okay, so there's the cutouts. Okay. For the time being, I'm going to hide the body. And we can go ahead and hide the bill. We can hide that line tie because we're not going to use it. We can hide that line tie because we're not going to use it either. Oh man, does anybody remember, which I don't remember, what our width was? What was this offset? And why? I mean, I know why, but how much was it? 20? Let's see. If we get into heel, maybe we can measure it. Yeah, there we go. .03, 30 thousandths. Okay. So we want to maintain that 30 thousandths. What we're gonna do? No. Let's get back on our mouse. Pointer. Select this. GG. Why is that guy staying over there? Oh, okay. So GG is not gonna work there, but we can do on the local X. Let's bring it down there. This only needs the single split shot here in the back. This one can. And then I'm gonna move it out 30 thousandths in the other direction. Perfect. Here we're gonna get rid of this funkiness that's going on over there. Make sure it closed off our wall. I hit Control X to delete those vertices. Perfect. This guy, wonderful. Just get rid of that. Control X. Make sure it closed the face there. It did. But then we need to move it out. Grab this loop with Alt click. And do I want to extrude it? I guess. Can we get it kind of the way it was going? No, not really. Trying to maintain in the direction it was going. You know what? It'll be alright. Forget about it. Okay. Now, one thing that I do want to do, let's move it over just a hair to make sure we have enough room there. This one, I want to make it a little wider. With the twitch bait, and we were kind of going with this subtle presentation. That's okay. We didn't have a lot of rattle in it. There was some rattle, but it was a subtle rattle. I want a little bit more room for these guys to knock around inside there. So let's turn our lure back on and hide these. And how much room do we have to work with here? I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna turn the X-ray off, zoom in close enough to do that. I'm just gonna try to stay and I'm gonna operate inside the body here and see if we can do something. Well, first, the bottom I want to leave where it's at. I don't think I want to make the bottom wider. Do I need to make the bottom wider? I think what I want to do is I just want to... Oh man, I'm conflicted. Make a decision. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna scale it on the Y like that. And you know what? We'll go ahead and scale this a little bit too. I may be getting dangerous here. I may be thinning it out too much there, but we're gonna go with it. And if the 3D printer tells us it hates us, we'll be able to tell when we go to slice it. Okay, I want to do the same thing back here. So pick this guy. So I guess first things first, let's do the whole thing. Ah man, I don't really have a good way to see what I'm doing here. Maybe like this. And to kind of look down the barrel of this gun here. Scale on the Y. It's tough. Just a little bit. Okay. And then let's pick the top part here, which should be this and this. Does that look right to you guys? Tell me if it doesn't. I can't hear you, but you know, we'll pretend that I can. Scale that on the Y. I think we're gonna go with that. We'll just see what happens. I want a little more room in there for those split shots to rattle around. Okay, and that should be a lot of it. Let's get the Boolean modifiers here to start cutting some of this stuff out. What do we call those? Ballast pockets. Ballast pocket front and aft. So ballast pocket front. And ballast pocket aft. Ballast pocket rear, whatever. Okay. Now, in order to get these guys operating correctly, man, I'm trying to remember how we did this last time. Okay, so I think we did here. Yeah, I remember now. So it was intersection. Yep, intersect with the crank. Oh. Sorry, I was getting away from the microphone. Let me get a little closer. Hopefully you guys have been able to hear me. Yes, we've got that. And same thing here. Intersect with the body. And actually, I think we duplicate this. Hold on. Duplicate it and let it sit there. And duplicate this and let it sit there. So one of these should be 001. Yeah. Okay. Aft, front. So let's apply the Boolean modifier there. And let's apply it there. And let's take it out on these ones, on the number 2s. And then here we're going to take the body and go with a difference. We applied those, right? Okay, yeah. So what's going to happen is if we hadn't applied these yet, they would be sitting there with that shape due to it's where the cube we had intersects the body, so it creates that shape. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to cut a void into the body. So if the body had a void, if the body had a cutout, there would be nothing for this other piece to intersect. So that's why we had to, on the 001s, we need to go ahead and apply the modifiers to save it. So now we're going to go, no, we'll just close it there. Okay. Move my window back a little bit. And we're going to look for 002. Boom. We should be able to hide this guy. Perfect. After this one, I'm going to... You see I've got the save, the auto save from earlier, from whenever I had to go back on the video, or when Blender kind of froze up earlier and I restarted. So I'm gonna apply this one, and then I'm gonna close Blender and reopen it. Let's go ahead and get our rear line or aft line tie back in here. We're gonna leave the front line tie where it's at. Going to actually gonna bring this up. It's a lot easier to get glue or epoxy into these holes when you have like a vent on the outside. So if you hit GG, you can bring it here. If you go to the left, you can extend past that. It starts going on the other axis. If you hold down, when you get on the axis you want to be on, you hold down Alt. You can come all the way out here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply these. as I mentioned in the video before, I like to leave all these. I don't want to apply the modifiers unless I have to. So that way we go to 3D print, we may see something in the slicer we don't like, and then we have the ability to come in here and kind of move some of this stuff around. Line tie aft, and we're gonna do the mid as well. We'll figure out how we want to do the forward. Tied in to something, and tied it. We'll bring the forward back to life here. Let's wake up our bill. I told you before, I like to have a line tie into something else. So I don't like it just, for example, floating out in space like that. I want to have it tied in to something, and tied into that other one there is a good place for it to be. And let's hide the body for a minute and decide where I want that to be. I think I'll have it intersect there, actually. I'll just have it intersect completely like that. Cool. Let's turn our body back on. That puts it right where that needs to be. Oh, it's all coming together perfectly. Swimmingly. Yeah. Shallow diving, crankbait, square bill. Beautiful. So I'm going to save this and we're going to jump over to the slicer. Save. I want to export. Let's just export it to the desktop. So we're going to export crank, and we're going to export this piece. Oh, biscuits. You know what we didn't do? We didn't finish. I'm exporting the body and we're not finished here. Okay, let's cut out the forward line tie. We would have solved that once we went to slice. Well, hopefully we would have solved that when we went to slice. And then we need to add the bill to the body. I'll tell you guys something that's fun that you can do, and tend to do it on a future video, is I showed you earlier how you take the cutout and cut out the bill here, so you have the pocket or the cutout on the face. Print you several different bills. Print you long bills, wide bills, weird bills, curved bills. Print them out, and then don't have them if they're too tight of a fit when you're sliding in and out. You can crack, or you will delaminate along the layer lines, even if you have it epoxied. You want it to be a good fit, but not too tight of a fit. And then you can just test out there on the water. Just mix and match your bills. It's nice. It's fun. And we're gonna do that in a future exercise. But for now, get us something to work with. There's Bomber. Can you get it? Oh. Well, I'm interested to see what you think. I've had a couple of them.
I tasted a little bit of it. These two now, some came out whenever I tried to open it. Tastes kind of medicine-y.
Yeah. It's definitely a different flavor. What is it? LaCroix or LaCroix?
LaCroix, yeah.
What's the flavor?
Lemon.
Limoncello or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Are you a huge fan?
It tastes weird at the start, then it instantly goes away.
Yeah. I like the little bit of flavor that's there at the start. I like that weird flavor.
And then it instantly goes away.
But it goes away, yeah.
You just have to drink multiple at once.
Yeah. Alright, I think now we've got everything we need there. And we'll be able to tell by going in and hiding these things. And let's move it under. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Perfect. I think perfect. Let's find out where that line, see how the line tie doesn't cut through here. So we need to find out where that line tie is and move down past the bill. Is it that one? Line tie forward. And let's move it underneath the bill. Oh, I hit my funny bone. It wasn't very funny. Alright, that should be, we're cooking with gasoline now. Beautiful. Oh, hey, hush. You know what we should probably do is get a little cutout in here. Do you think it's gonna be tough to get the line tie on there? Nah, it'll be alright. Nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, now let's export that. Okay, so let's save and then hop over to the slicer. Okay, we're in the slicer. Can you hear that? That's the rattle of the twitch bait. It was laying here. I had taken the hooks off of it and saw it sitting up here on the table. Hopefully we're gonna get a little more rattle with the crankbait. Open. Where to put desktop? There they are. Crankbait, and then these guys. It's gonna make them huge. Oh, look how ginormous they are. Close. We could fix that by changing the scale in Blender, but kind of lazy. I like to do other stuff with that scale, so sometimes I'll leave it alone. It's 100,000 here for me. Make sure you have uniform scaling on. I mean, you don't have to, but saves you time, trouble. Gonna move these dudes out of the way. Just get over there for now. Okay. Turn you 90 degrees. If you have not seen any of my videos before, I really like to, for FDM printing, I like to do this upside down. I like to flip it over and do it upside down. Reason being, let's see if I have infill on. If we use lightning infill, 5%, probably won't notice much, but let's see what happens. No. Alright, let's pump it up to 20. Okay. You see everything that it's adding here at the top to support the top, right? There's not a lot down here at the bottom. Not a lot of infill added down here at the bottom. Why is there infill right there? What is that? What is that mess? What is that? That is so weird. Oh, you know, well, that's a pocket. Where's the other pocket at? It's down there. I don't know why it has all that stuff in there. Anyway, the bulk of it sits up here at the top in order to support the top. And when we're making lures, we really want any excess crud to be at the bottom, whether that's excess resin, excess filament, excess lead to be at the bottom, and anything that's not just a straight up air, we want it to be as low as possible. So having all that up there is counterproductive to what we're trying to do. And if we flip this 180 degrees this way, that's not going to work. Alright, well, it would have worked. The top, which is upside down and laying on the bottom, is gonna be more air than it was before. You see that? This is not the filament or the infill that we're gonna use. Sometimes I do use it. The problem being it's very hard to control the symmetry, and it is not symmetrical, especially right now. It's probably not that big of a deal, but it is a pet peeve of mine. I bring this up a little bit so that it's sitting on a support instead of just on the heated bed. So one I was playing with the other day was triangles, and I think at 5. Let's just see. Maybe looking down from the top, mostly. Does this get us what we want? So down here, it's mostly empty. We have okay. There's a lot of air. Starts building these cross bridges here for this. It's basically supports, internal supports. Right when we get to the aft hook hanger, the aft hook hanger is here, so everything from here down, everything from here down is it's gonna start being structured, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think we can live with what we got here. It looks symmetrical. We need to turn off supports for now. We need to see how heavy this thing is going to be. Turn off the supports. And turn off build plate adhesion if you've got your raft or brim or whatever on your skirt. Turn it off. Let's get the number here. That's 13 grams. Is that including these? You get over here. And you get over here. I like about half, so we want to get 14 grams or less than 14 grams. Okay, we're right at 14 grams. Perfect. How many walls are we looking at? I'm printing a tall layer height, and you know I did it on the last crankbait. On the Twitch bait, I did print one at 3, and I think I'm gonna go with 3 on this one too. The Twitch bait that you guys had saw was printed at 0.1 layer height, I think, if I remember right. I later printed one at 0.3 and it looked good. I liked it. We're doing sanding anyway. We're filling, so let's get, benefit from the sped up time. Walls 3, and we're kind of, to be honest with you, flirting with destiny a little bit by having that little infill on the inside. Let's go with what we got. But okay, so see up here in the lip, I want the lip to actually be 100% wall, and so that's gonna actually add thickness. So over here, add a support blocker. It goes right, y'all. And we're gonna make it bigger. Doesn't have to be that big. It could have been like 50. Let's see. And we're gonna rotate it. How do you turn off isometric? Is there a way to turn off isometric? Sometimes I don't want to have, sometimes I want, what do you call it? I don't know. Perspective. Sometimes I want the different perspective, orthographic perspective. Whatever. Let's. Is that gonna do what we need it to do? Let's slice it and see. Why does it look funky? Why does this look funky? So go to per model settings, modify settings for overlap, wall line count right here, 99. Let's slice it and see if that turns it into it. Yes, it do. So that's now solid. Okay. Do we really want that part? Nah. Let's just burn it. See what happens. Live on the edge. Right, guys. Okay. And gals. Alright, close that. Okay, let's just put it in there. These zooms make you want to sale. Perfect. You're good. Let's put there. Move them. I'm gonna move them in such a way that they're like this. What happened? What in the world? If there's Control Z, yeah, okay. Why is it falling down? A waste of time and space. I don't know what happened there. Cool. I don't know why you fell off. Nope. Fantastic. Okay. Now. Was I grabbing it by the blue one earlier? Did I throw it down there? What a dummy. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I thought I was grabbing the green one. I probably grabbed the blue one like a dumb. This is right here. Take runs. Automatic PETG. Take runs. Okay. From this little curve side. Right here to right here. So make sure it's that. Give it a little more. Alright. Ready? Alright. We're ready. What was the time? 2 hours? Tick tock. Tick tock. Tick tock. Tick tock. Tick tock. Damn, I was close. Hour and 50 minutes. 6 meters of filament. 27 cents. 18 grams, which you include the supports and the brim. Thank you folks for watching. What we're going to do, I'm going to throw this over to the printer, and the next thing we're going to do is, actually I think I'm going to print 2 of them. So the next video you will see is getting them off the printer, prepping them, assembling them, painting them. We're going to do, I told y'all in one of the last videos I was going to show you how you can hand brush lures, and it's going to look fine. And then after that we're going to get into airbrushing. I've got a couple of airbrushes, and I got off of Amazon cheap little cheap little airbrush, like fingernail kind of airbrush that doesn't come with a compressor, or doesn't use a tank. It has a little rechargeable tank. I don't know. We'll go over it in the video. Take a look at it. See what you guys think. If you've been enjoying this so far, please go down, hit like, hit subscribe. I know the videos are long. I'm learning. We're new to this. We're gonna get there. I appreciate you guys being along for the ride.